Changing a law is no easy feat, and that's why the perseverance of Patrick Pursley is so remarkable, because he did just that while behind bars. Earlier, Tori and Al spoke with Patrick. That's today's Freedom Files, Wrongfully Convicted.
April 2nd, 1993. 22-year-old Andrew Asher and his girlfriend are sitting in their parked car outside an apartment complex in Rockford, Illinois.
Rockford is very, very high on crime. It's a very violent place. So Rockford is no joke.
Andrew is shot and killed after a masked gunman reaches into the car and tries to rob him. 2 months later, 28-year-old Patrick Pursley is arrested based solely on a tip from Crime Stoppers. The caller says Patrick confessed to the crime.
When you put large cash rewards in the mix, it's what you call incentivizes, right? It's an incentive for people to say things that are not true.
April 1994. Patrick is put on trial for murder and his past comes back to haunt him.
You have a credibility deficit. You have no credibility. I've been in prison 3 times. There's nothing you could possibly say to someone. So I relied on ballistic testing, right? So I was like, test the gun. That's my, test the gun, just test the gun. You know, don't believe me, test the gun.
Patrick's ballistic expert is put on the stand, testifying that he can't confirm or deny the bullets from the crime match his gun. The father of 3 is convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole.
The conditions of confinement, the buildings where they house, you wouldn't have your dog in there. You know, they literally turn off the heat on April 15th, and you know, that's that. No matter what snowstorms may accrue, they cut all the latches off the windows, so you can imagine all the broken windows. You can imagine the black mold, the sick building syndrome, birds flying over your head every day as you try to eat. Millions and millions of roaches and spiders.
To survive, Patrick gets a job in the law library and starts reading. He builds his appeal and even acts as his own attorney.
Time goes fast and slow. Every day being the same gives you illusion of time going fast. But the holidays, that's where time goes slow.
Then, in 1999, a new ballistic database is created that could reveal the truth about Patrick's case.
The appellate court kind of gave me a breadcrumb, which said basically they would preserve the gun. They couldn't grant the ballistic testing because in Illinois at the time only allowed for DNA testing. It is literally the appellate court sends me down the rabbit hole to get a law change in Illinois.
But the judge dismisses his plea to reevaluate the case. 8 years later, thanks to Patrick's advocacy from behind bars, the state changes their law, allowing for conviction cases to get new ballistic testing. In January of 2019, Patrick starts his new trial.
What Patrick said to me more than a decade ago was absolutely true. Those bullets, those casings did not come from that gun.
Patrick is acquitted of all charges.
You come out the courtroom, you know, lights, cameras, people, you know, but I'm still body numb. I was as body numb then as I was when I was found guilty and given natural life sentence.
This is a very momentous day. I'm very, very grateful.
After 25 years, Patrick is a free man.
What an honor. Patrick Pursley, welcome to DBL. Now, you got a law changed while behind bars. How did you do that?
Basically, I was wearing these prayer beads in the chow hall. And the warden at the time in Stateville, he approached me and said, what are you doing with those? And we had a few words, and he said, I don't like my attitude. I said, we don't like your attitude either, sir. You brought much misery and suffering to the land. That got me put in segregation for 6 months. That's the whole. Being taken out of population, I had a lot of spare time on my hands. I was blessed at my worst time in prison to write 2 paragraphs that became a state law through an advocate named Bill Ryan, who was an advocate for long-term offenders for people on death row. And he just pulled my letter out of a pile.
Wow.
in that letter, I asked him to publish the story as well as to take my idea to Springfield.
Wow. I have so many questions for you, including the one that's right in front of me on the prompter. But before I get to that, let me just ask you this. How are you not perpetually angry?
Yes.
How have you managed to just have this outlook on life that's not based in negativity? Because I don't think anybody would blame you if you did.
Totally agree.
When you come to understand that anger, all that is baggage, negative baggage. You gotta let go as much. You know, you always have issues dealing with being incarcerated so long. But basically, I learned that attaching myself to good deeds and charity lifted me up, and I find fulfillment in my work.
All right. Well, let me get to the question that we also want to ask you. You were in one of the worst prisons in America. I don't think that should be overlooked.
No.
Let's be honest about like your situation when you were in there.
My children kept me going. I actually was blessed enough to take classes, even though they got rid of the Pell Grants, the Prison Neighborhood Arts Projects and Loyola University, DePaul University, Inside Out programs. Basically, taking the classes allowed me to develop a brand while I was behind bars. So we were actually getting our materials out as early as 2005, 2007, while I was in prison.
Wow. You've been a free man for less than 2 years. What is that like for you? Does it feel real? Is it uncomfortable?
And also, I want to know the first place he ate.
Yeah, I want to know what you ate first.
What was the first place? What were you craving when you got out?
I think I got out and got some steak, lobster, and calamari.
There you go.
I had the steak burnt too bad, so I couldn't really enjoy the steak. I was there with about 12 lawyers, my business partner and confidant, and I just I chowed down. It was festive at best.
Wow, I can't even imagine.
I can't imagine. I mean, you know, you've turned your pain into advocacy, and while you were in prison, you started Kid Culture. Do me a favor, tell us and all of our viewers about this organization and your dreams for the future.
Well, it's IamKidCulture.org. It's basically a non-for-profit. This brand all grew out of a book idea as early as 2002. It's aimed at reducing gun and gang violence, promoting higher education, and empower at-risk youth. We have been nonstop. We just did Food for the Hood. The COVID kind of set us back. But we're bouncing back now. We're about to re-release the mixtape.
We'll never play by the grades. All we trying to do is get an A. So we grow up, get a job, get paid. Go to college, everything be great.
Patrick, we can't thank you enough. Al and I have just been going over and over you. For those of you wanting to learn more about Kid Culture, please visit the website IamKidCulture.org. There you're going to find plenty of ways to get involved and to help our youth.
And Tori, I'm going to say something. They say if you want something to happen, put something in the universe. Mr. Patrick, I would like to see you in office somewhere, some way, somewhere in the future.
Me too.
I'm saying.
in my office.
There we go. I want you in public office making policy. We need more of you up there making decisions for us. So we appreciate you.
In a leadership
Everyone needs to get out there and vote. That's what they need to do.
All you DBL Nation, you heard him. You vote. You listen to this man, all right? Thank you again, Patrick. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, you.
Patrick.